Alright, and playoffs for Korea are starting tonight. Live Sandbox versus DRX, game 1. Bit late to this one, but that's okay. Let's just have a look at the drafts. Looks like DRX opted for the Lushinami as well as Poppy second pick. Live Sandbox opting for the Sivir, both fairly common bot lanes. Still match 12.14, so I'm a bit surprised to see that Seri went through this draft with nothing done to her. I see the Aatrox picked blind for DRX. He has been popping up more in these regions, plus he's into the Ornn. Pretty favorable matchup for the Aatrox. Is one of the few champions fighters that just isn't outclassed by Ornn's damage in the early game. And because he doesn't take mana, he can sort of out-economy the champion in lane and bully him. Live Sandbox opting for the Ahri in the mid lane, as well as the Trundle. Looks like they're just playing for the Sivir comp, which makes perfect sense, obviously. I mean, why wouldn't you play around Prince? This guy has been absolutely monstrous this split. The flip side, we see the LeBlanc locked in for Zeka. LeBlanc's not exactly a meta champ, but has been one of the AP assassin champs that Zeka has shown considerable skill on. So I don't dislike the pick. However, their composition really just wants to roll over Live Sandboxes, for lack of a better term. I'm a bit worried about the ability to kill the Ornn in the later stages of the game, once he has more armor and magic resist. But at the same time, I feel like this Trundle's not going to have much value in the fights other than just ulting the Poppy. But that could be all he has to do. I think these team comps are pretty evenly matched. It'll come down a lot to how early the Lushinami get ahead in the early game, how stable the Sivir is going into the mid game, and then just how effective these mid lane assassins are at getting picks. You can see in the audience some Live Sandbox fans over here wanting a 3-0. And over here on the DRX side, oh wow, they've cut out all the We Make Legends. It looks like we'll be jumping onto the Rift in just a second. As you can see the picks once again. If you're just hopping in to the LCK for the playoffs, just a little bit of context for these teams. DRX was fairly strong in spring. They've fell behind a little bit in the summer, but most of their success has been found on the back of Barrel and Deft making some really impressive plays. Pioshik has been sort of a coin flip player for them this year. There are some games where I feel like he's really impressive and some games where he's not. Live Sandbox, on the other hand, was at the bottom of the pack in spring, launched all the way up to the top of the standings, third place in summer, after they dropped their Academy AD carries that they were just rotating through and picked up Prince. Prince was monstrous in the LCK the past few years on APK Prince. He was always on bottom tier teams, sort of like Teddy of old, and just putting out these tremendous carry performances. I was confused when he didn't end up on a team in spring. Really happy to see him on a team in summer. Because this team didn't really go far in spring, though, they're going to have to make it pretty deep into playoffs if they want a shot at Worlds. DRX being one of the teams to beat for that spot, the other one being KT. Genji, T1, and Damonkia obviously have a lot of champion points from spring, so they should be... They're soft lock for Worlds. It should be pretty easy for them to make it. But I really hope this team goes to Worlds. They're incredibly fun to watch. So we see the trading come through from Deft and Barrel. Just onto Kyle. Obviously, damage onto the Yuumi isn't really relevant because she'll be attached for most of the phase unless Barrel can hit a really good bubble. Poke just come through, back and forth. Pretty standard rune options across the board. We do see Closer opting for the Unsealed Spellbook on the Ahri. Just taking a look at these win rates, Dove, really impressive Ornn win rate. This champ is just so powerful. And Deft and Beryl have actually not been having the most success on Lucian Nami. It's mostly been, to my knowledge, the Zeri that Deft has been able to find a lot of success on, or conversely, the Sivir. This champ is still completely overtuned. It does strike me as odd, though, because most regions play playoffs on one singular patch. We've already seen in China that they're playing on patch 12.15. I don't know if Korea made the decision to allow a movement to patch 12.15 after this, but the Korean playoffs are also going through really quickly, to my understanding. Sorry, it's a bit late over here where I am. You can see top push for the side of DRX should net Pyosik the top Scuttle Crab. Meanwhile, bot push will net Kroko the bottom Scuttle Crab. Kroko is actually a player I want to touch on. Kronk on Closer. I've had a lot of hopes for Closer. He wasn't performing as well as I think he could have in spring. And meanwhile, Kroko's been one of the bottom tier junglers in Korea for a while. Has had glimpses. But this year, those two have really stepped up. Dove was the former mid laner for Sandbox. Role swap to the top lane. I think he's been doing a pretty good job up there, and has also pulled out some specific counter picks like Azir top. That just sort of showcased the talent of this guy. You see Kroko. Actually, I believe he thinks Pyosik already took the bot scuttle. I wasn't paying as much attention to the level 1s. I guess they didn't get any vision onto the Poppy. And he thought that he pathed down as well. Doesn't want to take any duels though, because his bot lane is out of mana and just trying to crash the wave. So the wave does go under. I would expect Beryl to cancel the resets here as he starts to move up. Ward onto their respective Gromp by DRX. They will see Kroko starting this one up. They know he's right there. We'll see if Pyosik actually checks for the Scuttle Crab. Could be pretty good for Kroko if he doesn't. As we see Dove, nice timing on the W. Does take a pretty sizable chunk from Kingen though. Looks like he's just rushing the Tab Ice. I sometimes see the Ornn in these pretty heavy 80 skirmishing champ matchups just rush the Warden's Mail. Obviously, Warden's Mail doesn't get the most value against Aatrox because he's not quite an auto attacker, but we might see Dove go for that one. Kyle and Kroko now moving down. Will find the Scuttle Crab, so nice for Kroko. Does manage to claim one of these for himself, which should put him a little bit more even with Pyosik. 3-man squad of DRX moving down to the bot lane. And we actually see the cleanse for Deft, which is quite surprising given that the only CC on this team are the Charm, the Yumi root, and the Ornult. And the Ornult obviously is a knockup, you can't cleanse that. I guess Deft just really valuing his ability to dash in. Doesn't want to get hit by an RE Charm and get blown up. Pyosik finds Kroko. Decides that that's the end of that though. Will peel away as both junglers even up their CS. Both have Krugs up, but unfortunately Pyosik's on the wrong side of the map to do it. Prince clearing this wave out. Good damage back by Deft. Kale hops off to try and body block, sidesteps the bubble. Barrow's kind of in a tough position. Deft has no more damage to trade back. Ignite comes through, forces the cleanse. Two summoners for two summoners on both of these sides. Cleanse and heal for the AD carries and both ignites on the supports. Of course, since Yumi has two combat sums, this does favor the side of Lift Sandbox. However, DRX will be pushed off the dragon by the Trundle. They do have a Honey Fruit though, and the Aatrox is rotating. Level 6 drag fight could be interesting. So take a look at this goes down. Looks like Kroko wants to try and push his way in, maybe get a smite off. Zeka forces the ult out of the RE, dashes forward. Charm goes really wide, but does force the smite out of the Pioshik, so the Straken should be Kronko's if he can finish it. Meanwhile, Dove does manage to clean up Barrel. King should fall next. Will end up being a 3-for-1 trade, with the Poppy just barely getting out with her life there. 2 kills onto Ornn though, so it's not the end of the world for DRX. They do lose the Kodrik. I am a bit surprised that the Silver Call managed to win that fight, but we'll have to take a look in the replay. Was a bit disjointed, even with the Ari Charm going wide and Closer being taken out fairly early on. He did pull Zeka over to him, and it looked like the Lucianami was just caught in the backside. So let's take a look here. Zeka does a really nice job zoning. The Ornhorn comes through, forces Flash out of depth. He's almost dead. Flashes on, kills him, kills Barrel. Meanwhile, Kingen is only able to force the Flash out of Cipher, nothing else. And his World Ender times out, and he can't do anything more. Yeah, I guess the team fighting comp from DRX just needs to have either eyes on the Ornn and they can't be grouped up like that, or they need to have already hit their item spikes. On the one item spikes, they're so much stronger. Actually, really nice tech there by Dove to knock up on the Trundle Pillar. Fun little duo there. No sums for any of the bot lanes though. Prince ulting forward. Does see Pioshik, will be able to back away. I'm a bit surprised that he thought he could kill there, but I mean, Prince is an expert in playing AD carries aggressively, so pretty sure he knows his limits a lot better than I do. As we see them just pushing out the bot wave. Good cancel on the dash by Kingen, but unfortunately it's Ornn. He's not going to get much out of it. As we see here, Dove actually opts for the Bramble Vest against the Aatrox. Bramble Vest is sort of like a mixed bag against Aatrox, because he can just opt to not auto-attack you. But obviously his passive is a pretty decent portion of his damage, so he wants to. It just affects the way that these trades play out. Obviously, it means Kingen will want to use his spells and then get the final auto off. That way he still gets the Omnivamp from his Qs if he leads it. But obviously, it hurts Aatrox's damage combo, because for optimal damage, you want to get the auto off early and then use your spells to reset your passive cooldown and auto again. Plated steel caps come through as well. Just a lot of armor for the Ornn here. Most of the damage from DRX as we see Poppy going in. Good steadfast presence by Pioshik. Closer seems a bit off in this game. I do believe this is his first playoffs appearance, given I don't think he appeared in any playoffs games while he was on T1 as a trainee to some of their regular season games. So it makes sense that nerfs would come through. However, Zeka is also a rookie to my knowledge. Just seems to be showing up better. Good spell shield by Prince. This guy is phenomenal with the reaction time. Not that that one is any difficult. Let me just look up Zeka really quick and make sure. Oh, he did play in China. I don't know if he actually played in China, and I don't know if he was ever in playoffs. So this could be Zeka's first playoffs. I'll have to check for sure later. Just coming back to the game though. Infernal Drake spawning in a minute. Obviously, Drakes have buff stats. Both these teams are going to want to claim that. It would be pretty huge for their carries. But since there's no Infernal and Cloud Soul, as the engage comes through onto Zeka, Flash forced out, they can see which one it is, but unfortunately he does have Distortion up again. Just dashes away nice and easy. Ornn has to catch the wave, won't be able to rotate to the Rift Herald. Doesn't look like Rift Herald is going to get started up by any of these teams, though. This one will just go through. Might not even get picked up till after turret plates have fallen. Looks like both new teams posturing around the dragon. Another engage onto closer. Is fine this time, just walks it off. Still, no gold lead for now, as we see Seka resetting. Might have either boots or a blasting wand. Don't expect him to finish his mythic item here, though. Oh, wow, he actually does have the Ludens. He's quite a bit ahead of the gold. Cancel comes through. The unsealed chapter doesn't find much value, as Prince and Kyle are both forced to use their ultimates as well as the heal, just for the ultimates of the DRX bot lane. And they're forced out. I am going to end this recording here, just at 13 minutes. I don't know why, I'm so tired. I got a lot of sleep last night too, and it's not too late for me. Normally I'm up for like another 2 hours, but maybe I'm feeling sick or something. I don't know, my head's spinning. I will finish casting over these games tomorrow. I'll probably just upload this. I won't finish the rest of game 1, however this game pans out, because it'll be a pain to edit together. I'll just put this VOD that I have recorded so far. I'll stay through to the Infernal fight, though. I feel like I should at least push for that much. As we see both teams posturing, Left Sandbox is clearing out the vision. Zeka dashes forward, Chain goes wide, so he should be fine. Zeka actually has a pretty decent experience lead over the Ahri. Ahri just is barely 10 and Zeka's already 11, so pretty wide mid-gap occurring so far. Mythic items for most of the champions in the game, only the Ornn and the supports don't have it. Could make a difference in these team fights. I think DRX's comp is significantly stronger at this stage of the game. Lucian Nami on their one-item spikes are super duper 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 powerful, as the culling is about to come off cooldown, as well as the unsealed chapter, so we'll have to see how these ults are utilized. Zeka on a flank, we'll see if he manages to find anything big. They're scouting for the LeBlanc, but unfortunately can't find her just yet, as the Poppycopter starts to get held. And Prince is out of here. This is actually huge. He's in the clutches of Zeka. Ornhorn comes through. They might be able to get the Nami here. Nami does go down, as Closer dashes forward. They still don't have their AD carry here, because he couldn't find an entry back into the fight. Looks like Kingen will be fine, just uses the Flash and World Ender to get out. Ooh, good pillar. Might end up catching him in the end. Flash out by Closer just to land the charm, and Kingen will go down. So Drake traded for some kills for the side of Left Sandbox. Actually, I think that's pretty good for them, considering I don't think they had any ranked to win this fight at all. DRX playing a bit skittish in this first game of their playoff series. And let's just wrap this up here and go to bed. Sorry, everyone.